The knock came at 7:15 a.m. Three sharp raps that echoed through the small apartment where Michael Turner was frantically trying to get his 6-year-old daughter Emma ready for school, while simultaneously attempting to knot his tie for a job interview he couldn't afford to miss. The cereal was getting soggy, the clock was ticking, and now someone was at the door. What happened next would change their lives forever. But before I share this incredible story with you, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming, real-life stories that remind us of the unexpected ways our lives can transform in an instant. Michael peered through the peephole, expecting to see his elderly neighbor, Mrs. Gonzalez, who sometimes watched Emma in emergencies. Instead, he found himself staring at a tall woman in an impeccable charcoal suit, her posture radiating authority. He recognized her immediately. Elaine Winters, CEO of Meridian Technologies, the company where he worked as a janitor last night to make ends meet after losing his software engineering job 3 months ago. His heart sank. Had he done something wrong? Was this about to be another door closing in his face? With trembling fingers, he unlocked the door, his mind racing through possibilities. Had he accidentally taken something? Damaged equipment? The extra job was the only thing keeping a roof over their heads while he searched for work in his field. "Mr. Turner," Elaine said, her expression unreadable, "you forgot something last night." Michael's confusion must have shown on his face because she continued without waiting for his response. "Your resume. You left it at the reception desk." She held up a folder he recognized, the one containing the resume he'd planned to hand-deliver to Meridian's HR department yesterday before his shift, hoping against hope that his qualifications might be noticed, despite his current position. He'd gotten distracted when Emma called, upset about a nightmare, and must have left it behind. "I don't normally look at papers left at reception," Elaine continued, "but your name caught my attention when security brought it to Lost and Found. I recognized it from the night shift roster." Michael stood frozen, Emma now peeking curiously from behind his legs. "I was intrigued by why our night janitor would have a resume detailing 10 years of software engineering experience, with specialization in exactly the kind of security protocols we've been trying to improve." Her eyes narrowed slightly, so I did some digging. The silence stretched between them, heavy with Michael's mounting dread. Was she here to accuse him of something? To tell him it was inappropriate to try to circumvent the hiring process? "Your former employer spoke highly of you," she continued. "Said the layoffs were strictly financial after the merger. Called you brilliant, actually." Michael swallowed hard. "Miss Winters, Dad, we're going to be late." Emma tugged at his pant leg, her backpack already on, cereal abandoned. Elaine's expression softened as she looked at Emma. "You must be Emma. Your dad talks about you all the time." Michael blinked in surprise. He'd only exchanged pleasantries with the CEO once when she was working late and he'd come to empty her office trash. He'd mentioned Emma then, briefly. "Mr. Turner," Elaine said, straightening, "our head of cybersecurity resigned unexpectedly yesterday. We need someone who understands our systems and can hit the ground running." She extended her hand, not with his resume, but with a business card. "I'd like you to come in for a formal interview this afternoon. The position pays 3 times what you're making on night shift." The world seemed to tilt beneath Michael's feet. "But why? You don't even know me." Elaine's professional demeanor cracked slightly, revealing something more human underneath. "Last night, while you were cleaning the conference room, I overheard you helping the night security guard troubleshoot his personal laptop. You explained complex security concepts in a way that made perfect sense, with patience and clarity. That's rare." She glanced at her watch. "I have a meeting in 20 minutes. The interview is at 2. And Mr. Turner?" Her eyes met his directly. "Bring Emma. Our company daycare is excellent, and it would solve your after-school care problem." As the door closed behind her, Michael stood stunned, the business card clutched in his hand, as Emma tugged impatiently at his sleeve. "Dad, who was that lady? Why are you crying?" Michael knelt down, pulling his daughter into a tight hug. "Sometimes, Emma," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion, "people see you when you think you're invisible." That morning marked the beginning of a journey neither Michael nor Emma could have anticipated, but the path there had been anything but easy. 6 months earlier, Michael had been a senior software engineer at DataCore Systems, with a comfortable salary and a life that, while not luxurious, provided stability for himself and Emma. His wife Sarah had died when Emma was just 2, leaving Michael to navigate the complexities of single parenthood alone. He'd managed well enough, finding a balance between his career and his daughter, creating routines that worked for them both. Then came the merger. DataCore was absorbed by a larger corporation, and despite his stellar performance reviews, Michael found himself among the 30% of employees deemed redundant. The severance package was decent, but not enough to sustain them indefinitely in the expensive city where tech jobs were concentrated. Week after week, Michael sent out resumes, attended interviews, and came home to Emma with forced optimism.
Something will work out, sweetie, he'd tell them as they ate mac and cheese for the third time that week. Dad just needs to find the right fit. But the right fit proved elusive. The tech industry was experiencing a downturn, with hiring freezes at many companies. Some interviewers seemed put off by his status as a single parent, making thinly veiled inquiries about his availability and commitment that left Michael seething but powerless. As savings dwindled, Michael took the night janitorial position at Meridian Technologies, ironically, a company he'd applied to multiple times for engineering roles without response. The pay was minimal, but it came with health insurance, which Emma needed for her asthma medication. His days became a blur of exhaustion, dropping Emma at school, sleeping a few hours, picking her up, helping with homework, making dinner, then leaving her with Mrs. Gonzalez while he worked from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The physical labor was grueling for someone unaccustomed to it, but Michael found a strange pride in doing the job well, in leaving spaces cleaner than he found them. It was during these quiet night hours that Michael sometimes allowed himself to break down, silently crying as he mopped floors where engineers like he once worked during daylight hours. He missed Sarah fiercely during these moments. Her strength, her unwavering belief in him, the way she'd always insisted that setbacks were just setups for comebacks. "I'm trying, Sarah," he'd whispered to the envy offices. "I'm trying to be enough for her." Emma, perceptive beyond her years, noticed the changes in their life despite Michael's efforts to shield her. The birthday party invitations she couldn't reciprocate, the new clothes they couldn't afford, the exhaustion that lined her father's face. One night, after Michael thought she was asleep, he found her sitting at the kitchen table, her piggy bank emptied before her. "I counted it, Daddy," she said solemnly. "I have $27.35. Is that enough to help?" Michael had gathered her in his arms, his heart simultaneously breaking and swelling with love. "You help me every single day just by being you," he told her, voice rough with emotion. "This is just a tough time, but we're Turner tough, remember?" "Turner tough," she'd repeated, their private mantra since Sarah died. The night before Elaine Winters appeared at their door, Michael had been particularly despondent. Another promising interview had ended with, "We'll be in touch," the polite corporate equivalent of rejection. The rent was due in a week, Emma needed new shoes, and the constant juggling was wearing him down to nothing. As he cleaned the executive floor at Meridian, he'd paused in Elaine Winters' office, noticing a framed quote on her wall. "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." It had been one of Sarah's favorites. Something about seeing those words in that moment had straightened his spine. He'd finished his shift with renewed determination, deciding to leave his resume at reception before leaving, a small act of hope in a season of disappointment. Now, as he sat across from Elaine Winters in a formal interview, Michael could hardly believe the turn of events. Emma was happily settled in the company daycare downstairs, immediately befriending 2 other children and diving into an art project with enthusiasm he hadn't seen from her in months. "Your technical skills are impressive," Elaine was saying, "but what interests me more is your adaptability. Not many people with your background would take a janitorial position with the grace you've shown." Michael shifted uncomfortably. "When you're a parent, you do what needs to be done." Elaine nodded. "That's exactly the kind of practical problem-solving we need. Our previous security head was brilliant but inflexible. When challenges arose, he'd explain at length why solutions wouldn't work rather than finding ways to make them work." The interview continued, delving into technical questions that Michael answered with increasing confidence. It felt good to exercise his mind this way again, to speak the language of his profession after months of silence. As they concluded, Elaine leaned forward. "I'll be direct, Mr. Turner. We want to offer you the position. The salary is competitive with benefits that include the daycare program for Emma. We'd like you to start next Monday." Michael stood stunned. "Just like that?" Elaine's expression softened slightly. "Nothing in life happens just like that, Mr. Turner. You built skills over years. You persevered through hardship. You maintained your dignity and work ethic when many would have become bitter." She extended her hand. "We're not doing you a favor. We're making a sound business decision." As Michael shook her hand, emotion threatened to overwhelm him. "Thank you for seeing me," he managed. "Sometimes the right people are already in our orbit," Elaine replied. "We just need to adjust our focus." The transition wasn't seamless. Some employees resented Michael's unusual path to leadership, whispering about favoritism and questioning his qualifications. The learning curve was steep, requiring late nights and intense concentration. Emma had to adjust to new routines, new people, a father who was present but often mentally preoccupied with complex problems. But gradually, things fell into place. Michael's innovative approaches to security challenges earned him respect among his peers. His experience as a janitor gave him unique insights into physical security vulnerabilities that others had overlooked. And his natural ability to explain complex concepts simply, honed through years of answering Emma's endless why questions, made him an effective communicator across departments. 6 months into his new role, Michael found himself working late, reviewing security protocols for a major client presentation. A knock at his office door revealed Elaine. "Still here?" she asked, leaning against the doorframe. Michael nodded. "Just finalizing the Henderson proposal. Emma's having a sleepover with a friend from daycare, so I thought I'd get ahead." Elaine smiled. "The Henderson account is impressed with your work. They've agreed to expand our contract." "That's great news," Michael said, saving his document. "It is." Elaine paused. "You know, when I knocked on your door that morning, I wasn't entirely sure what I was doing. It was impulsive, which isn't like me." Michael looked up surprised by the admission. "The night before, I'd been reviewing our company value statement, all those lofty words about innovation and seeing potential. And I realized how hollow they were if we couldn't recognize talent right under our noses. She straightened. You've proven my instinct right, which is gratifying. But more importantly, you've reminded everyone here that worth isn't determined by circumstance. As the door closed behind her, Michael stood stunned, the business card clutched in his hand, as Emma tugged impatiently at his sleeve. Dad, who was that lady? Why are you crying? Michael knelt down, pulling his daughter into a tight hug. Sometimes, Emma, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion, people see you when you think you're invisible. That morning marked the beginning of a journey neither Michael nor Emma could have anticipated, but the path there had been anything but easy. 6 months earlier, Michael had been a senior software engineer at DataCore Systems, with a comfortable salary and a life that, while not luxurious, provided stability for himself and Emma. His wife Sarah had died when Emma was just 2, leaving Michael to navigate the complexities of single parenthood alone. He'd managed well enough, finding a balance between his career and his daughter, creating routines that worked for them both. But the right fit proved elusive. The tech